Call this meeting order, Stuart City Council tentative agenda, Monday, September 11th, 2023. Council chambers. Call to order. Kava.
Here.
Patrick.
Here.
Dolly.
Here.
Morgan.
Here.
Renslow.
Here.
I need a motion to approve the agenda and consent agenda, approval of minutes of 8/14/2020. Approval of financial statement as of 8/31/2023. Approval of bills are presented, approval of liquor license, Stuart Bowl Lounge, and Stuart Flower and Gifts. Second. Moved by Morgan, second by Kava. Have you got Kava?
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Dolly.
Yes.
Morgan.
Yes.
Renslow.
Yes.
Okay, 4, proposal to purchase city-owned property, Greg Irving. And after you talk, Greg, I've got a expert in that area, what's went on in the past history of that property, but don't come with microphone.
Sure.
So I don't know if I need a mic, but just in case. Thanks a lot for giving me an opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Greg Irving. This is my wife, Christy. Previously moved over to Stuart in June. We lived on the north end of the county. Got family over in the south end. Decided to come over and join you folks in Stuart. Really enjoy being here. We bought Christine Pace's house on North Fremont, if anybody knows where that's at. Love the area. There's a lot just to the north of us. That at one time it looks like looking at the plot map and looking at Beacon, it was plotted as to be 9th Street. Looks like the city's vacated part of that. And there's the partial just to the north of Chrissy and my house, and one next to Steve James' place. Reaching out to the council in the city to be on the record that we're interested in trying to purchase. Right now, you folks, it has quite a few stumps in it, and I understand that he doesn't want to spend all day over there, so he sets his mower on high and does the best he can without tearing up his equipment. There's 6 elm trees on that lot that are all dead. And the way I look at the map is even if you decided to extend Fremont on down, it doesn't connect with what you have left on 9th. So I don't know if it'd be a win-win for the city. What we'd like to offer is depending on whether you guys would take the trees down or we would take the trees down once we own the property. Would be quite a different price depending on whether we've got to take them down or you folks. So I just wanted to at least put the proposal out there. I'm somewhat familiar with city business, but not in the city of Stuart, so I just want to make sure we follow proper protocol. And is there anything else you need from us?
No, not at this point.
Okay,
Just need your proposal and
all right. Thanks for your time.
thank you.
Thank you.
Bob, you want to talk about council on this issue?
I'd like to talk a little bit about the history in that area, and welcome, Stuart. I'm glad I live in the area. Haven't met you yet, but I will. I am real cautious when I say the city should take under advisement to close or sell any piece of ground like an alley or a street, because if we're doing that, we're thinking we know what's going to happen in 50 and 100 years. And I tell you, we came to that piece of ground up there that you're living on in 1957. Later on, we raised corn and alfalfa there. Now there's 2 fine homes there. It's quite easy to see that at some point in time, the By Jones, former Archie Jones property, could hold additional homes, and that may be an access for utilities long term. North Fremont Street, we talked about, somebody could have made a proposal that maybe they wanted to buy years ago because it looked forlorn and nothing going on. That been opened up north of 8th Street for 2 homes on the east side and that really nice home Lorenz Crest lives in. Northeast 8th Street between Division and Fremont was actually closed down. It was never vacated, it was closed down to traffic. It was not repaired. A guy got on the council long enough to get that closed down because it wasn't big, but since then, the city asphalted, I think put some curb and gutter and asphalt in it. You got that beautiful Fippen home. You've got the one that Lonsdale had Gary's in there, and the Wolf place are looking as good as they have in years. And we just don't know what's gonna happen. The 10 acres that we moved on to in 1957 had that little white home north of my brother. Since then, the home my brother lives in and your home has been built on that 10 acres as well as the home I'm in. That's kind of the trend in the history. So, and you know, I've stood up here before fighting to not close streets and alleys. You did already turn down Neil Bryan and Amanda Pinelli, justifiably so, I think, because we've got to make sure that we're not doing things as a community that people are going to regret 100. We can't foresee that. But that's a little bit of the history. Thanks for giving me a couple
Thanks,
minutes.
Bob.
Well, and just to expand on that, I think we turned Neil Bryan down because there is there's an easement there that we have to maintain access to. So it wasn't that we just turned him down to turn him down. We turned him down because we needed to maintain the actual easement. Is there anything on this property besides the flooded street?
2 private sewers
2 private sewers.
and a water service.
It was my understanding that ran through the lot next to Steve James, and I could be incorrect on that.
That isn't actually a lot, that is a platted street.
Well, that's
But
true.
that's where they both run through.
Okay, but they don't actually run to the parcel just north of our place, Jim?
Probably not straight north, no.
Yes,
So there's 2 parcels, is that the way I'm looking at this?
yes.
And the city owns them both? And you're just wanting half, or just one of the 2?
Right.
Okay.
And just to make sure everybody's clear, we do not plan on developing it. That's not our plan. We like green space. I just would personally like to be able to go over there and keep it up the way I keep my own yard. And right now, you know, I can't expect Mr. Renslow to go over and trim up around every tree every week like I do. And one of these days, I'm gonna be retired, and, so that's why we're looking at the property, not to develop it, or tear the trees down, or build a house or garage, or anything like that. Just want to make sure that everybody was clear on that.
So right now, basically, we're kind of in the same spot where we had when Neil brought his
Just
proposal.
refer to the city attorney if you're okay with the city.
But don't you have to originally send it to P and Z? I think you have to,
Probably.
I'm pretty positive you have to send this to planning and zoning first,
Then it'll come back to us.
and then it comes
Okay.
back to
That's
us.
fine.
However, I would say we follow the same course that Ellen.
Because I remember I was on planning and zoning when Neil wanted to buy it, and then the next step was to go to council, and that's when I came on to council.
That's good. So if the council is okay with it, we'll follow the steps.
So I would like to move it back to
Okay,
planning and
okay,
zoning
yeah.
to review it
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, I'll do that motion.
And then can we make sure that Mr. Irving knows when the next planning and zoning meeting is?
It's Monday, isn't it? Which one
That's
is
needed.
I assume it's on the website.
Yep.
We'll let you know.
They'll make sure they call you
Okay, great.
and let you know.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
Appreciate you.
Thank you,
Yep.
and welcome to town.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there a second?
I move to have it go back to planning and zoning.
I'll second.
Second by Dolly, how do you vote? Cobal?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Dolly?
Yes.
Morgan? Renzo?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Proposal to purchase city-owned property, Alan, it's on you.
Yes.
At this point, I open the public hearing. Did you receive anything else?
No,
Any comments, concerns from the general public?
no,
Close the public hearing then. B, resolution number 2323C, approving the sale of real estate for Alan and Tanya Neal.
So moved.
Second.
Winslow, second by Caldwell. How do you vote? Caldwell?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Dolly?
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Renzo.
Yes,
There's 6, Alan Bovee, are you gonna talk about this? Congress meals?
I see.
Yeah, he's in.
I'm Alan, I work for the city and I also work as chairman for Congregate Meals. We got a note about in June saying that our budget that we had that was around 96,000 is to be cut in half. Our budget ended up to be 46,000. You guys, I am we are looking for chances to get grants, working on them. I'm trying to find out where to go. I have talked to Zach Nunn's representative that was here last Friday with the library, talked to her, showed her what Congregate Meals had sent us from Mason City. We have somebody, Doris King's daughter has written to Joni Ernst on this letter about this. And I've got email today from Bubba, and I will be addressing him with this request. We appreciate the donation that the cities have given us through the years. I'm just asking if we could get another one to help us through.
we normally give a match.
Gave them $500.
Can you bump it
Yes.
a lot?
I'm not expecting the full 46,000, but anything that we would get, we would appreciate.
Can we give them 1,000 instead of 500?
Yes.
We average about 40 to 45 meals per day. Some eat inside, we deliver to Dexter, Menlo. Meals go up to Panora and here in Stuart.
And you guys do a good job. Thank you. You do
Thank
that.
Any idea of like, $1,000, how many meals that would provide? Cost per meal type thing.
They are suggesting that we charge anywhere between $5 and $8 per meal. $8 would be anybody that's younger than the age of 60. They only reimburse us $3.70 per meal that we do per month. That's the money that we have to pay our bills. And we are short about $1,500 this month. So we have to wait until we get some more income in to meet our allowance. We only got 4,000 from Elder Bridge for this month to pay our bills.
We need a
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
Moved by Renzo,
I'll second it.
Second by Patrick, how do you vote? Kavah?
So this is for
$1,000,
$1,000, right?
Yep.
$1,000.
Okay. Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Dolly,
Yes.
Morgan, Renzo.
Yes,
Okay. Tree stump removal bid, cemetery, on Lombard Park. Jim, do you know how many?
I did not, Dick, I did not get that accomplished.
are we talking about the cemetery?
And
Cemetery and
Number 78.
cemetery and, Ballpark Park.
Yeah, hey, I got the list for the cemetery. I took,
I've got to look at them to see what can be ground and what cannot be
right,
ground.
and so I just, in accordance to this, I went out with Mike Johnson and, we looked at them just to see what his professional opinion was and take it for what you want. We counted 10 stumps, one in south, which is, two in south.
There's three
two.
inside.
Three inside.
Okay, so, but those seem to be fine. There was 1, 2, 3 of them, that stones would have to be moved in north. There is one, right by Kane Cemetery that Mike said, absolutely not. You couldn't replace the stone. If somebody even nicked it, you could not replace it. So absolutely not. So I would ask that when Jim goes and counts these, if we can also put in there for the 3 that should probably have stones moved, if we can see how much Mike would charge to move the stones to get the stumps out of there and to
Yeah.
reset them.
Who's gonna take that liability and move
Yeah,
this
the
stuff?
old stuff.
No, that's what I'm asking is, can we ask Mike Johnson with the funeral home if he would move the stones? Because when I talked to him today, he said they could be, the 3 stumps in the areas that we looked, those stones could be moved.
Are you
And go
talking
back.
on the west side of the main driveway going on the north?
There's one that's right by Smalls,
Yeah.
and there's another one that has a mother and a father, which is on the west side. He said that he could move them and put them back. And then there's another one by Hanley, that he said that he would be able to. But I'm saying, as we're talking about this, we should ask him, I mean, if we were gonna do it, we might as well get the whole cost. So see how much it would cost for him to be able to move those and put them back. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I had a contractor out there and he thought he could do them all except that much area of the one.
But if you nick some of those,
Yeah, I know.
that's a
He-
lot
He
of
said
money.
he could do a chainsaw next to it.
I would rather just pay to have them moved and put back, but
So Jim's got
can
to
you
give
please look into
how many
what
we
that's
have
gonna
anyway.
cost in addition to
Yeah,
I
what the
will have that
stops?
information for the next meeting.
okay.
Thank you.
On this same subject though, had 3 letters, I don't know if you read them yet. Nathan and Alicia Guile, business owner. Dr. Rex Wilhelm used to have a business, and Mike Powers owns apartment buildings here in Stuart, and they was asking if possibly the stumps could be removed. Erlen, Maydell, Woodward, Adair, Greenfield, and Winterset, Harlan, Redfield, Leon, and Lamoni have taken theirs out. They're just asking, and a local contractor asked me, said, well, can't we just get a possible bid? And if we divide it up for 4 years, maybe 8 years to get them done.
What happens to all the people who did it before? I mean, I know there's a homeowner that had 6 or 7 of them and paid $1,600 to have his removed. Are we gonna start reimbursing everybody that's already taken out?
Since the ash trees were taken down,
The city took 6 ash trees down off of one property, and that owner paid almost $1,600 to have those. So we're gonna have to go back and we're gonna have to look at reimbursing all of these people for trees that we've taken down as a city.
Where's the funds gonna come from?
That's what I mean, we don't have the money to be doing
I
this.
don't know, if we come in and grind them, if we pay for that, then we're gonna have to dig it out, we're gonna have to backfill, we're gonna have to grass seed it, I mean, it won't stop.
Exactly.
I don't
But where's
know.
the money gonna come from?
I don't know.
I mean, we've sacrificed doing a sidewalk the way we probably wanted to do because we took down 76 trees. So what are you gonna sacrifice now to take out stumps that aren't hurting anybody?
Yes, it's an eyesore, yes,
I get that.
I totally agree with that as well. But yeah, it's a funding.
I mean, I have one in my yard that I'm gonna have to take out.
I just
Oh.
brought it up, I had 3 letters, so.
And I'd be fine trying to find a solution, if we can figure out how we're gonna pay for it, maybe stretch it out in a few years, I don't know. But I think if we're gonna maybe ask for bids or something, we better do the whole thing, grinding, filling, you know what I mean?
Like in the soccer complex.
Yeah, we're gonna have to probably, because, if we grind somebody's yard and then, we're gonna get complaints, we just left a pile of mulch.
I think way too late to the party on this.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. We've already had homeowners and people that have already done it. So, I mean, where do you stop it?
Yeah.
And by the time we would even make a decision, how many more?
Right.
I mean, if it was mine, I'd probably have
I
them
mean,
done
yeah.
right away because
I would
it's
too.
an eyesore.
Mhm.
And then I'd be probably mad that
Yeah.
I should wait.
But also, don't you think that some of these people should be thankful that the city took the initiative to take the trees down? Because not all towns take their trees down.
So if we got bids to see how much it would cost, are we obligated to accept any bid?
No,
I don't think so.
I mean, because we really don't know.
depending on how the language of your bid proposal is written, no.
Okay, so that would be up to
For the insurance.
you, whoever writes it, I suppose that'd be you, whatever. to write it in such a way that we can refuse any and all bids, whatever. But without knowing an exact number, or what it could cost, we're kind of just fishing in the dark for something. I don't to find out generally how much it costs to do what you're saying, get it all done.
But is our tree contractors even done with their taking down trees?
Swing right.
Group number 2 of the trees has one left to do. Group number 1 has not started yet.
But here's the thing, like Dave said, we're late to the game here, because like he said, I have one in my yard that we're looking at getting, so by the time the other group gets done,
And-
some of these people are gonna have their stumps already out, so now you're gonna be reimbursing people because,
What we bid out was not ash trees. That was only 2/3
Right.
of the ash trees for us to take care of.
I thought you said there's like 26, or Corey said there's like 26.
30 something, give or
Somewhere
take.
in there.
Somewhere around 30 trees.
That's what I remember from the last time you said something.
I just, and again, where's the money gonna come from? Because we've got roads to repair and,
I have one dump truck that just came back from Des Moines that is over 13,000 in repairs, and I've got one in DeSoto at the shop that I have no idea yet.
yeah, so, we're just,
Okay, end of discussion. Okay, one other question I actually got. 2013 DNR report, you said you set $7,000 a year, but how come we're taking out a road use to pay Easley?
No, you see, we accumulated all that money to pay for the ash trees, you just approved them. You're gonna pay 50,000 or something. For the ash,
But it was put in the road use, it's $7,000 each year.
yes,
Okay,
and,
I had first question.
yes. So the money that we accumulated, we paying the ash trees, 326. So we're using the road use money that we
Okay.
accumulated since 2013
Okay.
or 14.
Okay, we'll go on to B, nuisance abatement, 320 North. I worked with Matthew Hardman, I had pictures. He did a lot of cleanup, I helped him some on it. The bid Jim had was $500 plus landfill fees. I think at this point, he's done enough at the property except firewood. He said Grandpa's gonna come and get the firewood.
That's good.
The porch is cleaned up, the junk is mowed, it's weed eated. And I said I'd work with him and continue to make sure it stays cleaned up.
Good news.
And then on C, 420 North Sherman, Richard Peters' place. Jim had a bid of $400 to clean it up, plus landfill charge. I've been in contact with Jason. He said we can only take the junk, not the house materials, as far as siding, the old cement, everything else.
what about everything behind it?
Well, they can't touch the building, the inside of the building.
Everything behind the house,
Yes, that's what he's got the bid.
Construction materials. Cannot take the
all the
construction.
way back, that whole, is there 2 parcels
No, it's all one.
It's all.
It is all one. There is a
owned by
five,
2 different people?
No,
no, it's all one
Richard Peters
owner.
owns it all.
It was sectioned out differently and they didn't have it updated on the county site.
Okay.
So at this point, I guess I had $500 without council approval. Can the council say $400 plus landfill fees to finish cleaning up, except the siding, the old cement?
What's he doing with that house?
Well, Jason will talk about that in just a minute.
Okay, so
We-
the mayor asking for approval to exceed the 500.
Okay.
Yes.
Then a motion?
So moved,
Mike, Caldwell.
seconded.
Second by Renzo, how do you vote? Cobal,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Dolly,
Yes.
Morgan, Renzo.
Yes,
Before we move on, Jason, can you come up and tell the council what's going on with the actual property?
Yes.
and have we talked to the property, or has anybody talked to the property owner?
Nobody
We've made multiple attempts. Jason Van Oswald, Eastern Kinder Building Official. We made multiple attempts to get in touch with the property owner. We had to remove contractors that were out there doing work that have stopped, that have walked through a stop work order. That stop work order was issued in January of this year. So we had to go out and remove the contractors that were out there doing foundation work on the house without permits. That happened last week. We've been out there multiple times. We've tried to contact the property owner on multiple occasions, certified letters and everything, nothing. So at this point in time, I just want to explain that this house has been compromised all the way through by this owner and the previous owner, and we're going to work through the city attorneys for condemnation. So, and there might be another house that we might be talking about and go through the same process to save attorney fees. There's another house or two in town to get them condemned and removed, and that might go through 657A through Iowa code to do that. So I just wanted to let you know that you'll be seeing emails coming through from me as this moves on through. This property owner can either step up to bring this house up to current code, I mean all the way through current code, because all the drywall has to come off. Everything was put in that house was done without permits and without inspection. So everything has to be started over or the house is gonna come down. Anything else on that?
Well, he poured footings and laid block. You have no idea how thick the footings, so that's all gonna be tore out.
Yeah, tore out.
If he chooses to.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been working with the city attorney and he's working up a letter to send out, take care of that. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks, Jason. And I'll ask you a little bit about another question. Okay. 8, Andy Force civil fine. As Mayor of Stuart, I'm asking the council to resolve this ongoing and clear infraction of our city code. Our building and zoning official, Jason, has also called for a resolution to this now over 6 years situation. After several grace periods to allow Mr. Forrest to move into a commercial building, the council took action last fall, imposing a $15 fine while the business continued to operate in a residential area. The move had done nothing to alter this situation. Neither Jason, the mayor, or the council has been provided with building plans in the past year since this action. One councilman voiced his concern when the original grace period was voted 6 years ago that this might result in future legal problems for the city and also could make enforcement of our codes more challenging with other property owners. None of us have a crystal ball to see the future, but it's highly unlikely the original council vote would have passed if the council had been informed by Mr. Forrest that it could take 6 years or longer for his operation to locate in a properly zoned commercial location. Mr. Forrest is a talented and skilled professional and a good citizen. Until he can relocate in a commercial zone building, he would be highly employable in many central Iowa repair facilities. This council has been very pro-business team and offered TIF to Mr. Forrest and many other business owners to assist with new and expanding commercial operations. This request to halt the operation in a residential site was made to assure that the city will enforce our codes in a consistent manner and protect the looks, appeal, and livability of all our residential areas in our community. I ask the council tonight not to put this on the future councils. This started in 4/5/2017, 10/9/18. He appealed to the council meeting and informed the council of purchase of the land. He was instructed to work with Jason, the commercial zoning administrator, and Vista and Krim on building plans. In October 11, 2021, Beverly Wild, our attorney, gave a notice of first offense, a civil municipality infraction not to exceed $750. Each repeat offense not to exceed $1,000. Jason says cease and desist should happen. Lawyer Dwayne said municipal infractions should take place. 2 years later, from Beverly's letter, the situation still is going on. We don't want to pass this on to future council. At this point, I'd like to have Jason talk.
Thank you, Mayor. It's very well worded, and I appreciate the dates as well. Mine is very clear. I'm your building official and your zoning administrator, and as the mayor told you, this has been going on for a very long time, and it's $15 per day, not just a $15 fine. This is a $15 per day fine that has been levied. And we've actually gotten to get action to get building plans moving to a commercial building and out of a residential zoned area. And like the mayor said, I believe that the council has been pro-business and has definitely given every opportunity to inspire this individual to take action and at this point in time. I've not been contacted, and I don't know that anybody at the city has either. What I'm telling you now is that this is setting a very poor precedent for residential, and it's setting the city up to have more of the same if we don't take action.
And what does our city code say about a business like that?
Oh, this is a residentially zoned district, and it is not allowed. It is zoned for residential dwellings only, not for commercial. And it is being used as a commercial business.
It's very specific to the type of business too. I think our ordinances are.
Yeah.
It talks about maintenance.
Oh, yeah.
I can't say.
In your C1 zoning district? Correct.
Yes, sir. It's not just.
Out of our sales and
Yeah.
service, and yes.
Yeah, it's very specific type. So is that just you might not know this, because I can't recall, because a lot of our ordinances, state the state statute underneath them. Is that a state statute?
No, this should be home rule. This is
This is
zoning.
okay, all right. I just wanted to be sure of that.
So does this go for every business? It's medium to fair sized or?
No, you can't be talking now. Any other questions, Jason? Okay.
Thank you.
If you do, you'll come back up.
I'd like to hear from Andy. Come on up.
Kind of off topic, just quick second. Why is it that when we have certain topics, we allow people from the public to talk, but then certain topics that we don't want to hear from the public, we shut them down? Just out of curiosity. Because there's certain topics that we've talked about and we've allowed every person in the audience to talk about. But Mr. Hunter wanted to make a comment.
Jason was still on the.
Okay, no, I'm just asking in general. So are we going to allow Mr. Hunter the opportunity?
And all I'm asking is everybody be treated the same. Everybody. If you want to treat one business like this, then treat them all that way. If you want to shut one person down like me, shut us all
Okay,
down.
Harvey, just hold on. That's what I'm asking.
That's
Are we
all I'm
going to
asking
give
for is fairness.
Mr. Hunter an
100% across the board.
There's a public forum that he can talk at.
But, and that's what I'm saying is, if we were talking about another topic, was, okay, we've allowed people to talk.
We've had instances where we've had, like you said, I agree, and then we've had audience members either sit in the audience and make comments or come to the podium to make comments. I'm sorry, we're way off topic.
I know,
I think
we
need
allowed Bob to talk as an expert for Mr. Green's thing. I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm just saying we allowed him to talk, he's a citizen. So I'm just,
No, I agree.
out of curiosity, I think if we're going to allow that, we should allow Mr. Hunter time to talk at the end, or however that works.
If he would like to talk, I would say he's more than welcome after.
That's all I'm getting at.
Okay, Andy.
Okay, Andy Forrest, representing Central Iowa Collision. Back here again. It is on me that we're here, and Jason's right, I haven't reached out to him since we had a Zoom meeting call in, when was that, November, October, something. And kind of give me some guidelines on what to expect and what to look for, what to do when I'm getting these architectural drawings. I don't have any more architectural drawings done at this point. I'm now working with Luis Huertas. He just went through his whole deal with his expansion, so his brother-in-law is helping me out with that. I mean, even, going forward, if my business gets shut down in my residence tonight, I'm still gonna pursue that, and I'll still, I've got Jason's contact, I'll do all that, but I just want to know going forward if this is it, and I'm over the top grateful for having this amount of time to work and to be, and what it is. I mean, I'm a one-man show. I'm trying to do it all. So I mean, it's hard, and it's on me that I don't have what I need for a building permit at this point. You know, to do the due diligence, to work, keep cars moving, keep bills paid, all that stuff, and stay on top of every other thing in life. But here we are. I'm at the mercy of you guys. Decide this. It is what it is. So, but
You know, last year you brought to us, you had blueprints of your building.
yeah, I have some, but I don't have all of them. So like, even the I'm gonna have a custom paint booth. I can buy a paint, like when Carl built their shop, they have two beautiful, they're $400,000 paint booths. I mean, they're manufactured by an outside company. They provide all the blueprints, but I want to build my own. I mean, so even that, the office, the bathroom, and I wish I could back up to when I got the building plans done, because the way the building plans are done, my office and bathroom kind of have to be standalone structures inside because I don't have them engineered into the wall, things like that. So paint booth, mixing room, bathroom, that type of stuff. Then the electrical grid, the plumbing grid. I had a guy that I was working with on that stuff. He put me on a waiting list till February, and it's on me that I didn't follow up. I followed up with him like a month or so ago, and he's still swamped. So I reached out to Luis to see if I could get some help from him. I mean, I know I'm up against our deadline. I've been pushed and pushed and pushed by the mayor, and it is what it is. If you guys decide to go that route, then, I mean, either way, I'll be fine. I'll still pursue it. But
I just don't understand, you know, and I'm gonna repeat myself. Last year you had the blueprints. I mean, did it just die? I mean, you just didn't pursue it anymore? Because I thought you were
yeah,
trying to get it.
yeah, and I am. And it's just getting someone to make up that CAD drawing, have it engineered, stamped. I mean, the first guy I reached out to, like I said, put me on a waiting list till February. I think the theater was busy until spring. So, yeah. I mean, I even reached out to Snyder and Associates to see if they would do the whole package. And I think his name was Jason. We had him on a Zoom call meeting, the three of us. So then he priced it to me, and it was close to $30,000 to have him take care of all this stuff. So with what I'm looking at, paying for these drawings and eventually the building permit, I mean, I'm gonna have half that in it by doing it myself. So, I mean, each one of those drawings is a couple grand a piece, if not more, just depending on which one it is. So,
Have you looked into maybe renting a building or something just to get out of your location? And that way it wouldn't be a huge impact.
yeah, there's really nothing around town. So that's what I went through in 2018. I went through the Morrison's building. Actually, John Schwinger and I both looked at it at the same time. We were looking at maybe buying it, splitting it. And I reached out to Jerry. We got keys for it, did all that. I was more concerned about the roof, and obviously he's done roof repair to it. So that building, even all the estimates that I got for repairing that roof, that is what Jerry brought to the council, and you guys gave him TIF money. It was like $90-some thousand. So he wanted like 180, and then it was gonna cost another 90 to fix the roof, and I'm like, John backed out immediately, and I was out. I mean, there was been some renters in there, and the one lady that ran Stuart cars, I talked before John and I pursued it, but she was pretty much like going out of business at that point. You know, that was right after the streets and stuff. I talked to Ed and Joe Dwyer. Joe's moved on. Ed's still doing it. Ed wanted $250,000 for everything. He wanted to sell the business turnkey. He said he was going to take his toolbox, some old cars, and then the rest of it. And then my second question to Ed was like, okay, what's your timeline, Ed? I don't, might be be done when Joe's done, might just keep it tinker. And then obviously, last year I pursued the Kading building. Went down that, and right when I was getting to the point of having an appraiser, he come up with a number. And that was the same thing, he wanted like $260,000 for that building. The property taxes were assessed at 139 or 159 at that point. I'm like, I knew I was gonna have to pay more than what they were assessed at. I was thinking maybe in the 170 range, because there's really nothing in that building. It's just a drywall building with central air, but.
How about Paige Williams' building right up here that Donnie Martin used to have? Is that commercial?
The one just to the
Next
east
to the
of the,
storage unit and the garage.
so Paige and I kind of have a history, I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I could do like I did.
I don't think Paige is willing to sell that, just
No.
putting that out there, cause I think somebody else has
guarantee you
approached,
wouldn't sell
My
it.
son-in-law already asked him about a long time ago. He was ready to sell it.
because I think the people to the south of him have asked and he wasn't gonna sell.
Yeah, at that time, even the upholstery shop wasn't, the banker just got it back from Jerry, and I walked through that, but, there's no parking, no room for expansion. By the time I put an office, a bathroom, and a paint booth in there, I'd have less room in that shop than I had in my shop at home, so, I would like a motion to continue. I would think I'm more net positive for the city, if I paid my fines on time. I'm establishing a business in this town. I'm sorry it's not that you would like. And thank you for giving me ample time to try to get there. I'll get there. So, shutting me down is just gonna set me back a little bit. Like he said in his presentation, I can go get a job somewhere, and continue to pursue what I'm doing, but I'd like to see it through. I pay my fine on time, not a nuisance. And honestly, even if I were to remove the cars that are there and move them over the lot, it would just look like any other garage in town. Like there's no sign, there's no advertising, nothing. Like,
Let me ask you an honest question, Andy.
Mhm.
What would be a reasonable time frame?
I think Luis's guy's gonna be a lot quicker. Luis said he turned his around pretty quick. And you worked with him with his deal.
Luis had plans in 30 days
Yeah,
and ready
so,
to go.
and that's what he was telling me over the phone was, he'll be good, he's not swamped or anything like that. And it'll be more in my price range too. I talked to him a little bit, so.
Because I think last year when we set the fine, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think we was asking for maybe monthly updates to talk to Matt, maybe contact Matt every month. on How the progress was going. Am I wrong on that? And I don't want to put you on the spot, Matt, sorry if I did.
I think it was just left to communication between me and Jason.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, Matt.
Yeah, there's nothing in that motion for that.
So I didn't know if we lost, where we lost a connection there and what was going on, but, well, I don't know. I feel like my back's against the wall just like you are, and I'm standing right next to you. And that's a bad spot for me to be in. And that's why I asked you, what would be a good legitimate time frame that you can give us?
I'm not a whole lot further than what I was last November. But with having an actual guy that's gonna get it done for me, not just gonna put me aside and I'll call you when I get to you type thing. I feel a lot more confident now. And he turned drawings around pretty quick for Luis on his expansion thing, so, I could have the building permit by the end of the year, so.
I agree.
That's kind of what he was telling me, so.
My biggest fear is that, say, Mike and Christina don't know if you're running or not,
I was just gonna,
then you
Right, you have
pass on to
somebody
another
new.
council, like last time, but like I say, there again, 2018 says you were supposed to get with Jason and have your plans there. And how many years now? Nothing's happened. And you never had anybody, you said, Jason, and there, you said 30 days, right there. So those people have the plans.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, go ahead, Mike.
And just as a reminder, prior to our August meeting, February, you stood up here before us, and you and I had a pretty good talk. Said, we both agreed, you agreed, just like you hear tonight, it's on you to get this done.
Yep.
Said, we were gonna give you 6 months' time to get it done. That was the end of it, right?
Yeah, that
You
was,
got a literal gift in August
yeah,
of
that was,
paying a $15 fine.
that was when I was pursuing the KD
Right,
building.
but it's a literal gift, and you've admitted it's on you,
Mhm.
you know? So how do we justify to the other residents of Stuart, Matt Harden, how do we charge him? Richard, whatever his name is, how do we charge him? How do we honestly sit up here and say, we're going to enforce our codes and ordinances on you, but not on you? How do we do that? Do we suspend all of our code enforcement until we get this done? Until you get a building put up? I don't know. But I thought, and it feels kind of like a slap in the face, like it almost feels like you're using my goodwill to give you 6 months last year to get this done, and you didn't do it. And it's not that I want to shut you down, don't get me wrong. I don't want to shut anybody down. We've had one other business, or at least one that I know of, the rock cutting one, that was, they moved out. They did the right thing. They didn't take a lot of forcing, I don't believe. I don't
Nick
know if you're part of that.
Askren is a zoning administrator
Okay.
at that time.
So they got moved. It's in our ordinance, that type of business, and even if we repealed that, if we did, I'm not saying we would, but I'm not saying, but if we did, because it's home rule, it's not an Iowa or statute that we have to, follow. That you'd still have the other ordinance, it's in a residential zoned area, so we don't gain anything, we wouldn't gain anything by that, but it's very specific. So,
So can I?
yeah, you go right ahead. I'm at a loss.
Well, I mean, and thank you, I mean, at your will, you gave me 6 months. At that point in time, I was pursuing a building to purchase. That fell through. Before that 6 months, I switched gears as fast as I could and went, all in, back on my lot, basically, in that time frame, and tried to get, I had some engineered plans done by the time that 6 months and, everything in motion. So it wasn't like I didn't do anything in that 6 months window. Like I'm trying to, because this is what I'm gonna do.
Sure.
Whether I get shut down tonight, I can go get a job somewhere, do something, I'm still gonna pursue it. So, I mean, the net positive to having my business in town, paying my fines on time, I'm not a nuisance, I'm a good neighbor. I'll get there. So, I mean, and there's, like what he said, there's been ample other businesses that, yes, they're not automotive repair businesses, but have had ample time in their own homes for years that have since moved on to commercial properties in town, had an opportunity to expand, if the council came down on them, and would they even be there? So, I mean, the time that I've been allowed, there's been numerous other businesses allowed that amount of time or more, just because they weren't in automotive business.
I ask a question?
Yeah.
So in our deal here for the city, it says in the definitions under F, automotive repair and vehicle maintenance shall only be allowed by a special execution of the Board of Adjustment. Have you ever went to the Board of Adjustment?
No,
That question was asked several years ago.
I know, but
And
the
he said
problem
no.
is I think a lot of our citizens think that, you know, people who run businesses out of houses, you can't do that, blah, 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 blah. But we keep saying this is 165.03 under the definitions, it's number F, and it specifically says automotive repair and vehicle maintenance. And just so everybody's clear, that's the reason why Andy isn't allowed to do this in his garage, is because of that specific one. But it says shall only be allowed by special exception of the Board of Adjustment. So, and I don't remember anybody asking since I've been on the council,
No, I think.
whether
that
you
was-
have gone to the Board of Adjustment to ask
Yeah, and I think that was
for a
addressed
special exception.
in August meeting when Forrest was here before, because that brought in the discussion of the guy with the welding shop. Because that's what he did, I believe. The guy that's over by Cleaverfield there.
Yeah, I don't think he was allowed to.
No, his building's sitting on his property in a box, but.
Yeah.
but he's-
And I don't think that's something we generally want to try to do, is get another entity to approve something that must have been created for a reason. I don't
The
know.
Board of Adjustment isn't an entity, I mean, that's part of the city.
Right, it's another
Yeah,
entity of the city.
so that's why I was asking if
It's a-
you've ever pursued that. And I'm not asking you to do that, I'm just asking if you
Sure.
did.
No, that's right.
But Jason, it puts us in a pretty tough position in it because I helped Hardman clean up his place. Richard Peters, Jim and Corey are gonna possibly, since the council through, clean that up right away. I got 2 other properties we gotta look at and clean those up.
It does, it puts you folks all in a bad, and you actually said it very well, because there was an ample grace period, a small fine placed per day to get you there. Clear direction to get you to the point where you need to be, and I think they're asking for a hard timeline. I think that they're working for a hard timeline for what they.
I think we've done that already.
Yeah.
I mean, that was February of last year, we asked for a 6-month hard timeline. I remember specifically, this is it, we come back in August, it's not done, we're done. I agree. And you're offered, you got a gift that, are you gonna stop the condemnation on Richard Peters' house now? No, why not? I mean, shouldn't we give him that gift? Extend that? I mean, it's not, we're trying to just shut somebody down. There comes a point in anything where it's like, you gotta kind of move on. I want you to have your business, have business done with you. Good business. But it's gotta be done in the right way, that's all we're asking. And I don't know how anybody else feels about the council in here, past councils, this one. I think we've been pretty fair. I don't know, maybe I'm not, maybe I haven't heard from the right people to tell me we haven't been fair. I don't know. What do you do? So, I know where I'm at, but it's up to these guys to decide.
Yeah, and I get the back and forth, and in the case with the Peters house, I mean, if it's a not livable structure, I mean, that's apples and oranges to me. I mean, you're basically lumping me in the group with everybody. I mean, I got lumped in with the guys that live just north of the high school by the mayor, and that wasn't even anywhere close. That was a renter squatter situation, and
But he's trying to make his house better so he could either sell it or rent it. He's trying to get there, you know. We give him a hard deadline, you know, he had contractors in there working on it, right? He told them to stop. What if we left them in there? Maybe they would have had it done. I don't know how good their contractors were.
yeah, and I'm trying to go through that process to do it properly. I mean, I have the building plans. I could literally put the building up itself, but it's for commercial use. I'm not gonna put the building up and not have all the site plans done for commercial use, because I have to have a certificate of operation for commercial use from him when I'm all done. He's gotta come out, make sure I have everything down to the fire extinguisher in place, you know, so.
Well, I appreciate you coming up here. taking accountability and ownership of it, and not laying it at the council's feet that we're doing something heinous against you.
I fully
I don't
understand
think
and
we are.
I apologize for,
Yeah, we're all neighbors, nobody likes to do this, you know, but we are bound by our ordinances to treat everybody the same way, and that's what we should be doing. You know, I think there's been enough discussion where people think certain people were treated one way, other people were treated another, you know, and I get that, so. But anyway, I said that stuff, so.
Yeah, I think we have a couple options here. I would hate to see you shut down. I really would. But that is an option. I think another option, we have to, I don't think the $15 a day is an option going forward. Because I don't think we're putting your feet to the fire enough, or I think we can up the price, but again, we're just passing the buck to some extent again.
Another council.
So another, deadline. So I don't know, maybe there's an option where we can up the cost per day with a hard deadline of January 1st. It's either up to whatever scale you say or shut down. Like until then, $100 a day. Just an example. I don't know if that's a possibility either.
Maybe you could go, $100 for the first month, $200 for the second month, $300 for the third month. I mean, daily, right? You're talking $100.
Yeah, and that might be a thing where you're just like, well, I'm not doing that, and I'll go get a job for 3 months while still working on this. I don't know.
It's but January 1st is your hard deadline, and it's an extra $100 every month up until January 1st. And if it's not done by January 1st, we don't even have to talk about it anymore.
Now, do you say every month or every day?
It's a day. So,
A day.
but every month it would go up. So the first month it'd be $100 a day. The second month it would be $200 a day. The third month it would be $300 a day. But as of January 1st, we don't discuss this anymore. It's done. Like if it's not,
I think that goes on to
and
you,
it's
Jason.
Jason's.
If it's up to your, whatever you deem.
Mine would just be the issuance of a building permit. Mine's very clear. He has to go through the approval process and the building permit plan approval, and we issue a building permit.
Because then it's on a timetable.
That's all, that starts the clock.
So
the building permit's what, 120 days or something like that?
You can't have stop work for more than 9 days.
But if we're gonna, if we don't shut him down and we decide to make we need to say January 1st, we're not even discussing it. It's not on the agenda. If it's not done, we're done. It's just,
Like the whole building being done, or?
No,
the
the building
building permit, because then he's on a timeline with Jason. He has to, whatever.
it's out of our hands, it's in theirs.
So then what's gonna happen after that? Because now we're in January and you're not gonna do work in the middle of winter.
But
So
that's
once they're
not-
done- Well, there could be work done. So as far as because it's a pole barn structure, I mean, if the weather was like last year, it was pretty decent for working through the winter. I mean, the structure could be put up, the concrete could be poured at that point, so.
But
But
it's
yeah,
not
once-
our issue.
Yeah,
Like,
because once.
January 1st, we're done. If he hasn't done what Jason needs, we don't even need to discuss this anymore. It's your shutdown, done. So I mean,
Yeah, like you
I guess
said,
I don't know why the last time we didn't say that, and we just said we don't need to discuss it anymore. This is your deadline, and if you don't meet that deadline, you're done. And I mean, it doesn't even have to be January 1st, it could
We
be
did it in February.
3 months. I mean, I don't
My
know.
motion in February was August we were done, but
No, I'm saying if you go the fine, it needs to be that, but, or you go the shutdown.
can we fine like that? I mean.
You can.
I didn't know if that was in
I
our
would go,
code. Okay.
it shuts down at $1,000 per day though.
Okay.
That's your limitation.
But you wouldn't even get to that point, because January 1st.
It'd be very expensive
it's
to-
10 months.
That's the fine that was levied on me in 2019.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Just like the code enforcement I've been doing, I give a person a deadline, time's up. Jim and Corey go run it, clean it up, it'll cost you
I'm just
X
saying, if
amount of dollars.
we're looking at our options, either shut down or give a fine,
Yeah.
but if you're gonna give a fine, I would like to see a hard deadline, and I would like it not to appear on the agenda again. It's, you have either met your requirements with Jason, or you're just shut down.
If we're gonna consider more time, I don't see the point of squeezing them. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if we're gonna give them more time, he's already paid 5,000 something, but I don't think upping the fine's gonna change his behavior.
No, and honestly, if the fine's $100 a day, I want you to move to just shut me down, because I'm not paying $100 a day.
$15 a day isn't
It'll be
half
fair.
what interest is on a $200,000 bill.
And my overhead for my business isn't just that $450 a month. I have estimating software, I have billing software, I have payroll, I have all those other things that I have to pay on top of that $450 that I'm keeping up with month to month, so.
And I think a lot of people also see that when you're a business owner in a commercial, you're paying property taxes that are higher, you're paying utility rates that are higher, so that, I don't know.
It's not being
Make a
done right
motion.
now. It's-
I'm not saying I'm making a motion, I'm just saying if we go think that January 1st or whatever, it needs to be, we're not talking about it. It is a done deal. No more on the agenda.
Well, he already said he wasn't gonna pay $100 a day, so if we did motion that, then he's gonna probably just shut down himself.
That's my point, if we're gonna entertain more time, I don't see the point of squeezing him for more.
So what do you propose? Like, I mean, what are you saying, James? Are you saying like, just
saying-
give him the January
If we're
1st
gonna-
deadline, keep it
If we're gonna give him a
$15?
date, I mean, he's paying his fine like we've asked him to, and he already knows we're not gonna talk about it again, so. It's 100% in his court.
Yeah.
Not saying that.
What's your opinion, Jason?
Well, I don't sit at the dais.
He already
You're the head person.
Either
Yeah, you could personally, you can answer, but I personally think I know what your opinion is. Already, I mean, we could sit here and go round and round. I made a motion back in February of 2022 that when it came due in August, the council went a different way. That's fine. I'm not saying it has to go away, that's fine. But I think you have to make a decision, somebody's gonna have to step up. I stuck my neck out in February 2022 and not gonna do it again.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion so we can keep moving. I'll make a motion, keep the fine the way it is, January 1st. If he has not Jason's approval, we're done. Like, no more. We're not talking about it, it's shut down. We don't even need to discuss it anymore.
So architectural plans have to be in.
It has to, he
Building
has
permit.
Building permit.
issuance of a building permit. If that is not done by January 1st, he is shut down. We don't discuss it anymore.
Quick question on that. So he gets a building permit, you have to, what is it, you have to build,
You have to have commenced and can't stop building within 120 days.
so he has 120 days to start building.
And that takes place because of what you just talked about, the freezing, that, and there's all that stuff.
Okay.
Give you a little time to work through that stuff, so.
So he could technically have another 3 months
Exactly.
But
if he gets a building permit.
Have a valid building permit, a
To
paid
start-
for permit.
So last year, the deal was put in place with the fine. I was gonna pay the fine until I had the certificate of operation. So even I'm paying the fine all the way through the
Yeah.
building process and everything.
Okay, I'm gonna clarify the motion by Vince so that the fees, the fine stays the same, the $15 a day. January 1st, if I get a letter from Jason, say he's good, the fine is stopped, and we don't discuss it anymore. If I get a letter from you say it's not good, you gotta pursue shutting it down.
Correct.
Okay, that's the motion.
Okay. We have a second.
I'll second it.
Second by Dolly. How do you vote? Come on.
No.
Kirkpatrick,
No,
Dolly,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Renzo.
Yes.
Okay, 9, Wamble, third edition, pay estimate, Macinich. You gonna talk about this, Horace?
Well, the agenda says I am, so I can say it. So just to give the council an update on progress, the grading work is done. They're working on installing the sanitary sewers and storm sewers out there. They expect to be done with the sanitary and storm sewer work in the next 2 water main work will be after that, about another month from now, should be done with the water mains. And their schedule right now is to streets, end of October, beginning of November. So they're moving right along out there. This dry weather is sure helping us out.
Do you have some guidelines on temperature on that for us?
On the concrete, yes, we do. Yeah, there's cold weather protection guidelines on the concrete. We have found.
We need a motion to approve the estimate number
I'll
three.
make that, Manish.
Cobba. Did you second?
Second by Joe.
Okay, second by Dolly. How do you vote? Cobba.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Dolly.
Yes.
Morgan.
Yes.
Renzo.
Yes.
Now B.
One ecological update. Because,
Well, that was my update, sorry.
okay.
I did be first.
Okay. So 10, public hearing for 2023 sanitary sewer improvements.
This is the 700, the North Harbor that's in with
Yes.
this, right?
Yes.
So at this time, I'll open the public hearing. Anything?
No.
Any comments, concerns, general public?
No,
Close the public hearing. B, resolution number 2328C, to approve plans.
So moved.
By Renzo,
Second.
second by Kavah. How do you vote? Kavah.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Dolly.
Yes.
Morgan. Renzo.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 2329C, awarding the contract. What bids did we have?
So Mayor, we received 4 bids for the work. We had a base bid, we had an alternate bid. We took the alternate to give us some leeway. If bids came in higher than we thought, we could do just the base bid. However, we received very good bids for the base bid and the alternate bid. The low bidder was Visu Sewer, and the total bid plus the alternate was $626,194. Our budget was $700,000, so we're under budget. We've worked with Visu Sewer before. We recommend the council award the contract to Visu Sewer for the base bid and the alternate bid. I will tell the council up front that as we're televising this sewer, we may find some things that we have to dig up and fix. That probably will be coming to the council with some change orders to dig up some of the sewers that we find problems with. So Jim's aware of that, and the council is aware of that too.
How deep is that, sir?
It varies. The south side's not near as bad as the north. Most of it's 15, 18 at most. The north side's 28 to 30. So, yeah, not quite as much of a challenge on the south side of town.
Do you project those change orders to be the $74,000?
I would expect so, yes, but we
To
don't
still
know,
stay
but
under budget?
yes, that's the, yes. And if we get into it and we start televising and finding all this and we need to back out some of that alternate work, we can do that.
Well, if something happens when it gets up north and it gets deep, that's when the prices really shoot up.
Yeah. But there's not much of it up north. Most of everything we're doing is out
Yeah,
there south.
So we need a motion.
I'll move that.
I'll
Second
second.
by Kavah, second by Dolly. How do you vote? Kavah.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Dolly.
Yes.
Morgan. Yes. Renzo.
Yes.
Okay, safe route to school, partial payments. Did DOT approve that yet for us, or did you?
No, this is just a partial payment
Okay.
estimate. They still have cleanup items to do. There's still some miscellaneous work to get done.
Are they,
It's pretty much,
are they gonna clean up that, what's it called?
Oh, silt sock?
The silt
Yeah.
sock by Mr. Tissel's?
yeah, there's silt sock, there's some
Okay.
ruts, there's some things that need
It's
to.
just, it's back into his driveway a little bit, so.
Yeah, there's quite a few cleanup items to go.
So I can talk about this since it's on our agenda, safe route. If you move that pole, is that on Corey's property or not?
I mean, there's a guide wire that comes off that pole as
Okay.
well, that going back to the
Okay.
north.
The guide wire would have
I think the
been.
guide wire would.
Eventually, that wire's gonna be all taken out in.
Correct.
Right?
Eventually, I know there's some other utilities other than the SMU's utilities on those poles.
Yeah.
So there's a lot, I think, that has to happen before those poles
We'll
come
just
down.
pull the sidewalk later, so it's straighter. Okay.
need a motion on 11A.
We'll make that motion.
Moved by Patrick,
Second.
second by Morgan.
Call it.
Call.
How do you vote? Kavah,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Dolly,
Yes.
Morgan. Yes. Renzo.
Yes.
Okay, 12, street improvement project pay estimate.
Yes, but no, see, that's fine. It's everything,
Yes, and this is allowance for payment of the retainage 30 days after acceptance, so don't write that check for another 30 days.
yes. Steve James.
No, that's a different deal, that's
Different
a
deal,
whole
okay.
different.
I just wanna make sure he's taken care of. Okay, all right, we need a motion for that?
Jim, you're good with it all?
No, but it's as good as it's gonna be. They didn't follow the plans like they should have, but it's as good as it's gonna get.
I have trouble of paying for something if it's not done right,
I was gonna say,
you know.
can we take a time out on that? Can you tell us what happened here?
They paved it wider than they were supposed to. So they basically, instead of granular shoulders, we got asphalt shoulders. And then, because they poured it wider than they should have, the ditches were too steep. So they came in and graded the ditches where they were spring and did that. I mean, the fix is to take out the asphalt and put granular, and that seems kind of silly, but it's kind of, it is what it is at this point.
And that's right in front of Steve James's.
No,
This is
this is out
Street.
towards my house.
Sorry.
This is
Sorry.
south, this is south.
This is the asphalt paving project from a year ago that was done by Inroads.
Gotcha.
And
South.
they made the maintenance of those ditches a lot more difficult than they were.
I'm probably mowing and stuff.
Yes.
So this is South Six going out to Jim's.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, need a motion on 12A.
So moved.
Moved by Patrick,
I'll second.
second by Dolly. How do you vote? Kavah, Patrick,
Yes.
Dolly,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yeah.
Renzo.
Yes.
Okay, B,
That's certificate of completion, that's the final step, need a motion for that.
So moved.
moved by Dolly, second by Morgan. How do you vote? Kavah,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Dolly,
Yes.
Morgan, Renzo.
Yes.
Thank you, Ranch Council.
Thanks, Forrest.
Thanks, Forrest.
Okay, 13, insurance requirements, and this is to make sure you have,
Yeah, last meeting, we were asked to refer it to our city attorney, and our city attorney said it's fine. I don't have the option if we would have the contractor have.
Jim has questions or statement or something else.
yes, Jim?
I'm just curious as to why we need to have 2 or 3 different ones. V&K puts a insurance requirement in every bid and spec book for every project that we do. Every contractor that gets a project has those insurance specifications to go by. Why can't we just use that? I mean, it would be simple. It's already established. Our bidders are already using it.
You mean to acquire
Just
theirs?
make it for all projects, for all bids. These are the requirements. These are the insurance requirements that we have.
I don't understand why we are prodding into our contractors anyways.
Well, we need to make sure that.
No,
We
but,
need to protect the city.
and I understand that, but as a work comp issue, if somebody gets hurt doing a project, that's on the employer, that's not on the city. So that's why, I mean,
I think we could
They
probably
can come
be
back
back
on
on
that
that.
one.
If they don't have
City.
work comp, they could come back, couldn't they, on us?
I don't
Well,
think
if you read it,
so.
it says there's some that are exempt. So not everybody has to have it.
Right.
Like sole proprietors,
If you don't have employees, if
Right,
you're just a
maybe-
one-man shop, you don't have to have work comp.
And they could submit, according to our attorney, they could submit,
But if they get hurt, that's between them and their employer, that's not
we
between
could
them, their
exempt
employer,
certain
and
sole
the city. I don't understand why we're pushing for this.
Guess I didn't know where it came from.
I don't know where it came from either, I have no idea where it came from.
Came from right here.
Jim,
Gotcha.
just wants to make sure we're covered.
I'm looking at protecting the city is all I was looking at. That's
Which
your guys'
I
choice.
get, but I don't understand.
But
If somebody gets hurt, we'll go here. If one of our tree contractors gets hurt cutting a tree down while working on a city project, I don't know that we're liable for that. That's between them and their employer.
Not to say they wanna try though, right?
yeah,
I'm not wanting to try it either. I'm just,
so to kind of piggyback off of what Christina's saying, so let's talk about, and I don't want to point fingers at the tree contractors by no means.
I'm just using that as we were
Yeah, I'm just using them
doing it right now.
as examples, and I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong for the record. But they don't go through the bidding process. I mean, Force doesn't handle that. You
No,
handle that.
We do.
So, but you were saying earlier,
But
you
we
would just like to,
require proof of insurance from all of our bidders, whether it be bidding lawn mowing, stump grinding, whatever, we require proof of insurance. But that's a pretty vague term.
Right.
So I think it needs to have some guideline as to
What we're
what is
wanting.
required. Yes, and I discussed it with Janice, the EMC, and she talked to the underwriter, and they were in agreement that you do need some form of specific limits on certain things. Am I correct, Ash?
Yes.
so what happens if an employer has employees and they 1099 them? Do they need to come up with their own insurance?
They
Or
would
is
be
it just,
considered subcontractors, wouldn't they?
that's kind of where I was headed out with it, yes. So that is something that you have to look into as well.
You'd about have to have proof of insurance from each of his
His-
employees
Yes.
as a subcontractor.
So is that what you're asking is make sure everybody's covered?
That's the thing.
I see what you're saying, yes.
I mean, I see what he's saying. I just don't know that. Just because it's the work comp, it's like, I get, we need insurance, everybody provides $1 million, I think is normally what it is you have to have $1 million insurance policy, you have to have this, and this, it's just that the work comp piece of it, that's between the employer and the employee. I just don't understand, like, that's not our, I don't know, that's the piece that I'm having a problem with.
Forrest, does your insurance require, have workman's comp stuff in it?
Yes.
So it'd be in there, if we went with that, it'd be in there. So, and again, like I said, our attorney says if they're not covered by it, they might prove and we're done. It's just gonna be a little extra step for them. Yeah, I'm not covered by this under Iowa law, like it says here.
But I think if you're working as a subcontractor, you wouldn't have to have work comp on yourself though, right?
No, I don't.
Right.
So they-
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Then you, I mean,
So then where's that fall?
Right.
About what we're required, because if Force has that, it is now. And that might be exempt, like you were reading, that some
Right, might be,
pieces of that might be exempt.
but here's the other thing, our insurance company, and only because I know this recently, our insurance company said nobody rides on fire trucks. Right?
That's not fun.
Well, but like in parades,
Right, they
That's
don't
our
recommend
insurance
it,
company
right?
says.
Sure, not recommended.
Who drives the truck?
well, I said on trucks, right on top of them.
Right.
And we went with our insurance company, we followed what they provided, and we went with them that way. I mean, just
Should we just,
looking at it both ways.
should we ask our insurance company to say?
I think they already did, it was in that.
Just in the last week, I took copy of the B&K spec book and gave it to Janice. She was to send it through the underwriter and see his opinion.
So do we
Okay.
need to just
Can
table
we
this?
just table
till
this
next
for
week?
a month?
Okay,
There
I
we go.
didn't know that. Yeah, let's table it.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Stuart.
Thank you.
Makes it easy. Thank you,
Okay,
Jim.
14, speed limit high school phase 4.
Okay, we
Quick
discussed
start.
the issue and, we just need the council guidance. We received a letter today from, what's called, agreeing on the speed limit and 35.
It's 45 now, right? And we're looking at dropping it to 35 there and then going farther out here by the high school, dropping it from 45 to 35.
Yeah, normally we wait for the chief and Jim kind of look into this and give their recommendation. But first, I need to know where you at as a council. You okay with 35 and 45? What do you?
Well, I mean, I
With
think-
the addition of those, the housing stuff and the way the road is, you know, it would make sense to.
I mean, right now it's 55 going by that housing development,
Exactly.
and I know that because I drive it.
So we tell the police chief and public work directors that the council have the desire to have it 45,
Well, it is 40, so
35. I'll say.
you go from 35, and then when you get to the high school, it's 45. And then when you get to the, what used to be the outside of town-ish, it's 55.
So change it to
So it
35,
needs to
clear past the
be-
new house.
Yeah, it needs to be 35.
75 all the way,
All
and
the way.
land 75 to.
Yeah,
looks
I
like.
mean, that's what I think.
Okay, so we will run it by the police chief and public work director. If they okay with it, no problem. We'll have a resolution for the next week.
That's
Okay.
sounds good.
Okay, 15, annual finance report.
This is a report that we submit to the state annually, to the state auditor annually. We publish it and we usually get the council blessing for it. If you have any question, I'll be glad to answer. If not,
I need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Renzo. Second by Morgan. How do you vote? Kavah.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Dolly.
Yes.
Morgan. Renzo.
Yes.
Okay, 16, urban renewal report.
that's another report to describe exactly the case and how we do with the TIF for the whole year. And we submit it to the state too. And if you have any question, I'll be glad to answer it. If not, you need a motion. So
Moved by Kavah. Second by
I'll second.
Patrick.
Yep.
Okay. How do you vote? Kavah.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Dolly.
Yes.
Morgan.
Yes.
Renzo.
Yes.
Okay, they reached out to the chamber on Beggars Night, Tuesday, October 31st. And Nadine had put down 4:30 to 6:30 downtown. But does anybody remember in the
I thought it was
area?
5 to 7.
Right, well, she had 4:30.
5 to 7
Yeah.
downtown, and
Okay,
then
well, I don't.
7 to 8.
7 to 8 or
I think
6
it
to
was.
8. I think maybe it was 6 to 8.
Sarah had like the,
Katie with the chamber had sent the email and she said that they prefer that it be
Starting
from
early.
4:30 to 6 downtown.
My only problem with that is at 4:30, people who live in or work in Des Moines,
yeah, okay.
I like the 5 to 7 and then
Okay.
6 to
There's
8.
a little bit more time.
Okay.
It's,
October
yeah,
31st,
outside of the
6,
downtown.
So-
and then 60.
I have a question, just because I've seen other towns do it. Other people have just set the last Saturday of the month as their trick or treat night? Or do we just continue to bring it up in the September meeting every time?
I always leave it up to
It's local
chamber.
mention, he has to.
I was just asking.
So what do you think, 5 to 7 downtown?
Yes,
And
Okay,
then
5 to 7 downtown.
6 to 8
and yeah,
in the residential.
it's the way it has always been.
Okay.
Any motions on it?
No, I think you just get to make that day. I just think people like to know, not in the second week of October.
Okay, 18, map fund. Well, first of all, open the public hearing. Any comments, concerns you get?
No.
Comments, concerns?
No.
Close the public hearing. B, resolution number 2330C.
Okay, that's the development agreement that we approved, and it just the final step of it. We need motion to approve the resolution 2330.
Yeah.
Moved by Kavah,
Second.
second by Morgan.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Dolly.
Yes.
Morgan. Renzo.
Yes.
Okay. C, open the public hearing on development agreement, Bonnie and Clyde. Did you receive anything, Ace?
No.
Any comments? Close the public hearing. D, resolution 331C.
Need a
So
motion.
moved.
Moved by Kavah,
Second.
second by Renzo. How do you vote? Kavah.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Dolly.
Yes.
Morgan.
Yes.
Winslow.
Yes.
Okay, public forum, anybody have anything?
Yes.
I just want to, we set the come time for the street guys to 200 hours. It will be a little bit exceeding for one person because we didn't have the silver person hired.
Yeah.
Now after we have him, the come hour we set it at 200.
All the employees was getting ready to reach that 200, so he has to inform us.
So I'm just letting you know, because that was the key.
But their call time doesn't even come close to the benefit package for 30 employees.
I see we're going the eviction.
And-
Anyways.
Right.
I was gonna put it on the agenda and I forgot. The city's Facebook page. Is there any reason why we cannot put our agendas on the Facebook page for people to know beforehand? I know you can go to our city website, but social media is what it is and people like Facebook. I mean, I see the other towns, they put a lot more on their Facebook than what we do.
Do we have anybody that is even running our Facebook? Is that Nate?
Me, I'm the main person and then Nate's been doing
We
the,
can,
Nate does stuff for the marketing part of it,
Okay,
it's for marketing.
you do the other stuff.
But
Who else does it besides you?
just me.
Should we have somebody else be doing that?
It'd be nice to have a backup, something, that could be something I should looks into at some point, whatever,
I like to be able to have things be transparent. Putting those on our Facebook page and having other things on there is nice. South Pond, I mean, I don't think it's nice that other people post about South Pond being open, but that can be on our, if we know it's gonna be closed, we can put it on there. We can,
yeah, all you
I
need to
think
do,
we as a city need to utilize our Facebook more.
yeah, all you need to do, just get a hold of Matt and we'll do it. The agenda, Matt gets it. he can
Did we
post
get
it.
any applications for the South Pond? Second backup. Okay, it's used a lot.
It's closed soon, isn't it?
I hope not yet. I think it extends it on out with decent weather on the fall.
Find some volunteers. I'll volunteer somebody.
Don't
Just not me.
Okay,
We good?
anybody else have anything? Anybody else have anything? No.
That's.
All in favor?